How's it going today, guys? Today I'm excited to share my experience with CMOR with you guys. I've had their chips for about 2 to 2.5 years now. I've been waiting to do this video, that way I can make sure I get the full unique CMOR experience to make sure I'm able to give you the best possible review on the CMOR charts. So with that being said, let's start the video, guys. So as I start this video, I just want to let you guys know, if you haven't seen them already, be sure and check them out if you're debating between CMAP, CMOR, or Navionics. I have a video on those three cards together and one video. I also have two other videos of CMOR CMAP and CMOR Navionics in another video where I went into the full detail of my card, the West Coast of Florida card, and compared it side by side with the CMOR and the Navionics and CMOR and CMAP. So it's a really lengthy video, got a lot of detail in it, and it's very thorough, so be sure and check it out if you haven't already. So with that being said, let's start this review. So we're going to be looking at the whole experience I've had, everything from customer service to how it functions on my boat on the water. So the first thing we're going to talk about is compatibility. So when you guys are looking at a CMOR card, you need to make sure your unit is compatible. If you're looking at a SIMRAD card, it's going to be compatible with either Mercury Vessel View, SIMRAD, Lowrance, or B&G. If you check out the links I have down below in the description, you'll be able to make sure and verify that your unit is compatible with that card. RAYMARINE, same story. There's certain units it is and is not compatible with, especially if you have an older unit. I highly recommend checking. They're compatible on RAYMARINE. Furuno, as you Furuno guys may know, Furuno is all about those unlock codes. So you're gonna have to get an unlock code to get CMOR on your Furuno, unless you want to get a portable solution, which is like what the Garmin guys have to do if they don't have Mercury Vessel View on their boat. You're gonna have to get a portable solution like a RAYMARINE map pack or a SIMRAD map pack. Those are down below in the description. They're actually pretty neat, and if you go around with a bunch of buddies that have Garmin on their boat, it's almost worth getting on its own. Considering the fact that it's portable, it's easy to store, and you can even use it in your house, which is like the amazing part about it. Another solution for Garmin is the NSO processor kit. That's basically, I think it's like a $4,000 or $5,000 option. You can look down below in the description and see it. But basically that is like a SIMRAD, that is a SIMRAD processor. You hook it up to the back of your Garmin and you're able to run CMOR on your Garmin display. So with that being said, let's get into the next part of the video, which is the cost of these cards. These cards are not cheap. They're not like a cheap Navionics card or a cheap CMAP card. We're just gonna be spending a couple $100 and you're done. You're gonna be spending $700 or $1,000 on this card. Bahamas card is $1,000, but if you're going to the Bahamas, you're burning some fuel and it's probably worth getting. Also, the coverage they have in the Bahamas is ginormous. So another card that they have, which is all the other cards, I have the West Florida card, but all the other cards are $700. That's the only card that's $1,000, but the rest are all $700. And obviously, if you want a shirt or something like that, you can buy that off their website as well. So they're expensive. They're definitely not cheap. $700. So the reason I was able to justify this is because they had coverage in my area. Make sure they have coverage in your area before you buy it. The guys I have linked down below in the description will definitely be glad to help you out, and make sure that you have coverage in your area before purchasing the area that you want to fish, to be more specific. But anyways, I had good coverage in my area. I was like, well, you know, this is normally where I'm running in my area. Unless you're going to the middle grounds, it's really good if you're running from about 10 to 30 miles. I fish out of St. Pete, Florida. I have the West Florida card, and I'm typically always running for kingfish or grouper. Or in the winter time, I'm running 10 to 30 miles. In the summertime, I'm running 40 to 50 miles for red snapper. They don't have coverage there yet, but I'm sure they're gonna have it soon, and that's also why you have to buy it from a dealer. That way you guys can make sure you're getting updates in the future. But anyways, back to what I was saying. That is a good range. It's a very popular range for a lot of people to fish, and there's good coverage in that area. So I bought it. It's a tank of gas on my boat. Actually, a little bit less than a tank of gas. It's like one nice rod and reel set that you might buy. So it's expensive, but when you compare it to everything else that you're spending on your boat, on fishing, on tackle, on bait, it really just becomes a small fraction of the pie, and it's worth it if you can do your pre-fishing at the dock, see where you're going, and see what's on the bottom and know what you're going to be fishing on. That way, it takes the guesswork out of fishing and it helps you find more fish. So how has my experience been with this cards? It's been pretty good. The detail on these cards is insane. If you've seen my other videos comparing to Navionics and CMAP, you can just tell that, like, especially as you zoom in onto a spot and really want to see what that is, like what that ledge looks like, or what that shipwreck looks like, or that rock pile, you can really tell on these cards because of the level of detail. Part of it is how they process their data. It's really good, and the coloration on these cards. So they have a really nice color scheme. Now, you can't just look at the cards and be like, okay, yellow is 30 to 50 feet of water, or like green is 50 to 70 feet of water, 80 feet plus is blue. No, they have the color change changing. That way, when you're looking at different depths of water, you can really tell if that spot is really dropping off fast. Like in some areas, there's like green and blue right next to each other, so you know that spot, if there's a ledge on it, it's got a good ledge and it's a big ledge and it's gonna hold a lot of fish under it. So the color scheme is really nice how they have it. It makes it easier to see the 3D detail the way they have it on their chips. And then their 3D detail is really nice. You can really zoom in, get a lot of detail on the cards, and really see in focus the detail of the spot that you're looking at. I don't know how they process the data. I don't know how they do all that stuff. But however they do it, they do a really good job at it. And you can really see the detail on these cards. And it makes it worth it because I don't have to worry about going out the old way to find new spots and search and say, well, is that the spot right there? Or is that the spot right there? Or what does this look like? Now, even on my old spots where I knew I had a ledge, I didn't realize that ledge continued for like another mile and a half. I didn't realize that there was a rock pile next to the ledge right there that I was fishing. Or if I'm fishing a couple rock piles, I didn't realize that whole field of rock piles was like a whole like square mile or two. So there's tons of area that you just don't know about that you see on there. It's so accurate that when I go to public wrecks and stuff like that to catch bait, I don't even look at the coordinate that the county provides for the wreck because it's right there on my CMOR card. I can see it, and once I drive over it, it's always there. So it's like a win-win. And another thing is, I even stopped using my side scan because of how detailed and accurate these charts are. I don't even use side scan on my boat anymore unless it's an area I don't have CMOR. So side scan is almost like useless to me now because I can just go with the CMOR chart on one of my Evo 3S screens, and on the other one I can look at the down scan and see what the life looks like on that ledge, on that rock pile, on that wreck, whatever it is that you're fishing. I can see what the life looks like over it, like if there's any fish on it, if there's any growth on it. I can see it on my other screen, and I have the CMOR card on the other screen. And then I can also see everything else that is around my boat when I'm going over that spot. So if that spot doesn't look good, on to the next rock pile, or on to the next ledge, or whatever it is. Like, you don't need the side scan because you already know in 3D what's around your boat when you're going out to a spot that has coverage. So that's really nice and a great advantage. That way you can really get anchored up on a spot, or you can set your drift more accurately, and you can tell where all your spots are instead of saying, okay, this is my spot. And you might, in some areas you go and you mark, especially when you're trying to find new spots. Really, since I've had this CMOR chip, I've very rarely fished an old spot. I think the number of spots that I've fished twice, I could probably count on one hand since I've had the chip. So I've been trying new spots all the time, and I've been having great luck finding new spots. It almost feels like every spot I find is an even better spot than the last one that I found. So that's been really interesting and fun for me to use because I've been finding new spots. So back to what I was saying, like before, if I marked a spot and I would caught some fish in that area, I thought it was just that little rock pile, that little area that was holding fish. Now I see that the whole area, or that ledge, is so much larger. Or if it's like a shelf where there's like a couple ledges stacked on top of each other, I can say, hey, well, I can set my drift up this way, and I'll cover even more of that ledge area. That way I can make sure I'm on the bite even longer, or I can make sure I'm anchoring up. It's a great tool for when you're anchoring because you can see when your boat is on the screen, and when you go to anchor, you can make sure that your boat is on top of that structure that you want to be on, or off to the side of it, however you want to position your boat. It really helps with boat positioning on that piece of bottom structure because it's accurate, you can see it in high detail, and it's right there. Like, that spot is not moving. Like, that spot on the chip, it's there. You don't have to think twice. Like, if I found, now there's no areas that I found that it's like, oh, there's all sand and then there's one spot, because when you look on the chip, it's so easy to find spots that you see the spots everywhere. Like, they're literally everywhere. Like, you just pick a spot, zoom in, and you're finding ledges and rock piles you never even knew existed. So it's really easy to use. But let's say like there was like a rock pile and there was all sand around it. Like, I would be confident enough, even if the run was like a long, let's say 40 miles, I would be confident enough to know that that spot is there just because it's on my CMOR chart, even though I might have never been there or known anybody that's ever been there, just because that's how accurate those charts are. So it's definitely worth the $700, especially if you're really serious into fishing, or if you're new into fishing and you need to find some new spots. You have the idea down of how to catch the fish, you know what to do, you just need the spot. It's a really great tool for you, any experienced or recreational angler. So even commercial anglers use it as well, or commercial fishermen I should say, because they're able to see their spot so much better. I know one guy I was talking to that's commercial fisherman. He actually just recently retired, and he said that he had a lot of spots that were on the CMOR card, but he didn't realize that that ledge continued on for so much longer, and it makes it so much easier to anchor and position your boat because you can see the structure in 3D that you're going to be anchoring over. So it's a really great tool if you're just getting into fishing and you need some spots. It's great to have. It's not going to make you catch fish, that's you the angler, that's your finesse, but it's going to be the first step into catching a fish and putting it into your boat, other than your rigging and all that. So it's a great tool. If you're an experienced angler, it helps you find more spots, and it's just a great tool for you to have because it'll help you catch more fish. Commercial guys love it, charter guys love it, everybody loves a chip, and so do I. So now on to the next part, my customer experience with CMOR. So my experience with CMOR, I called them up, I had questions, they were really nice people to deal with. They answered all the questions I had. They had there was no question that I asked that they were like, oh, I'm not sure. They were very confident and they were right about everything I asked them, because after I asked them, I went and checked it when I got that, and they were dead on accurate. They were right. So they're really great. If you need help learning to use the card, they'll help you out. Like if you say like, hey, how can I tell what this is? They'll be willing to walk you through it, and they'd be really happy to help you out, especially the guys I have linked down below in the description. I bought my card from dbrangesports.com, and it was a great experience. I got it the next day. It's quicker than Amazon Prime, and the shipping was free, and it was just a great experience I had. I really loved the customer service I had from both D&B and CMOR. It was really great. CMOR is great to ask questions to, along with D&B. I actually got to go and see the card before I bought it at D&B and see what it looked like, so I made sure I had coverage in my area. They're really great people to deal with. If you have an area that you're looking to make sure, like if you say like, hey, I can't really tell if I have coverage in my area, you can send them a coordinate and say like, hey, is there coverage in this area? I fish within like, let's say like 10 or so miles from there. They can look and tell you if there is, say like, hey, this is what it looks like. They might even send you a little video of what it looks like, and say like, hey, there's no coverage in this area, or say, hey, this area is loaded, you gotta get this or you're really missing out. So it was a really great experience. I absolutely love the customer service. If you have any questions, they're very quick to respond to you, very helpful, very professional, and I just love the experience. It was a great experience buying the CMOR card. I definitely don't regret it, and it's probably the best $700 I've spent on fishing ever, because it doesn't go bad, like it doesn't expire. Like it's not a lure that will get eaten up or chopped off or rust out. It doesn't like, it's not like an electronic that like eventually it's gonna break. Like this chip is warranted for life. So like if you put it in your machine and for whatever reason it doesn't work, even if it takes 1,000 chips, you're still gonna get that for life and make sure it works. So like once you get it, it's there. It's not like you buy some bait and something that gets used and it's gone. It's there for good. Like once you buy it, it's a one-time deal. You buy it and you got it for good, and then you get involved into like a special little club, because in your region every couple of years they put out a new update. I think it's like $150. You pay the $150, you send your chip in, and you got, boom, a whole lot more coverage and more area. And it's a really great thing, especially if you travel. Like let's say like you're going to the Keys and you live in my area, you can buy the South Florida card and you got spots in the Keys, and you don't have to be worried about getting and finding and wasting time over there finding spots, because you can even do your pre-fishing from your home. You can even lay down in bed and find spots. So I really love the chip, guys. Be sure and get yours down below in the description if you don't have it already. Let me know your thoughts on CMOR for those of you guys that have used it. I really enjoyed it. I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say about it. And with that being said, don't forget to subscribe, smash the like button on this video, Let me know your comments down below in the comments. Check out the links in the description. And until next time, guys, signing off.